Hi there. I know you usually see me sitting back there at my kitchen counter with a little bit of the house behind me or down in my studio sometimes. So this episode is going to be a little different, a little special. I'm going to give a house/art tour, mostly art. This is a mid-century house and it was built in 1951. That's probably why it sounds so echoey here, because there's really high ceilings and wood floors, a lot of hard surfaces, and also a lot of windows, which is great, except that we don't have a lot of wall space to hang art. And I have a lot of art because I make a lot of art and I buy a lot of art. And there's reasons why I hang up my own art. A lot of the time when I'm down in the studio, I start to lose perspective, and my instinct is to just keep working on it until I can force it into the painting that I think it should be. A painting is going to kind of tell you when it's done, especially abstract painting. It's very intuitive and you're kind of collaborating with the painting. So this gives me a chance to kind of see it in the space, walk around it, live with it, and understand if that painting is really finished. And a lot of times it is. Sometimes it's not done and I will take it back down to the studio and work on it some more. Along with paintings and mixed media kind of art, I also have a massive ceramics fetish. So the way to my heart, if you ever want to know, is through handmade studio pottery, vintage especially, which I collect. I do a lot of thrifting. I actually just got this at Goodwill the other day. It's a handmade studio mug, which is beautiful. It was $1. And I can't wait to show you some of the other goodies around my house. This painting right here is that when anybody walks through the door that hasn't been in this house, they ask me, "Oh, is this your painting?" And both of us go, "No." When we first bought this painting, we didn't even like this painting. It has grown on us. It sort of fits with our mid-century modern house. We got it at a Danish kind of modern vintage store. My husband was like, "Check out this big painting. It's already framed. It's ginormous. To buy a canvas this size and to frame it would cost thousands of dollars." So he's like, "For $300, why don't we buy this painting and then you can paint over it?" I don't even know who did it. It's not signed. I think it might be like a Dania painting. If anybody knows, please let me know in the comments if you know who this artist is. And also, I feel like I've insulted this painting by saying we didn't like it at first. It's not that we didn't like it. It's just that it wasn't our style, really. When we bought it, it was hung this way and the drips are going that way, which really bothers me. Funny story, Steve and I were walking downtown and we looked in a bank window. In the lobby was this almost exact, I think the exact same painting, which is weird because this is a real painting. This is not a print. So that's why I'm thinking like Dania factory painting. Somebody like goes in and makes a bunch of these. And I'd love to know if there's more of these that live out in the world too. Maybe one day I will paint over it, but I don't know, it's just so big. It's really hard to move. This painting over the mantle is egg tempera, and I found this at an antique mall, kind of buried away under a bunch of other stuff, and I just love it. There's a signature on it. It's Vern Mittelstadt egg tempera. It's called Field of Flames. There's no date on it, but I'm assuming it's like 60s. So if anybody knows who Vern Mittelstadt is, please, comments below, I'd love to know. I also love to collect studio pottery, and whenever I see something at a thrift store, I will pick it up. Here's a painting I did of Steve, a little watercolor. And here's another Hiroshi Yamamoto painting. This is just in a little oil landscape. And this is a sculpture that my relative did, a close relative did, and I have a few of these around the house. As you can imagine, I rotate stuff on here all the time. I put different pottery, I put different pieces of art. These two paintings are from a Japanese artist named Hiroshi Yamamoto. I really like his art, and he does these small little oils, and he does one a day. These are not on rotation, these are permanent installations. I have about 4 of his pieces. This one also that I haven't framed yet, it's just in a mat. Here in the dining room is one more wall where we rotate a lot of stuff. And this is really one of the only walls in the house where I can hang big paintings. Some of these paintings may not be done. I don't know. I like to hang them up and look at them for a while, just to make sure that I think they're finished. Because sometimes when they're up for a while, like 6 months or so, I will go back and make adjustments or just start over on the painting all over again. Usually I find that if I let it sit for a while, I like them more and I don't need to do anything to them. This is one of 3 places in the house where we probably rotate the most. It's just one of the only blank walls that I have that I see a lot. I don't really think that a lot of my paintings look good on this color wall. It'd probably be better if it was white. I mean, except for this thing, the speaker in the way, this is really one of the only places where we can experiment. There is an oil painting I bought at an art show, and I just really like this. The artist is Karen Lee Schmidt, and the piece came framed like this. This is actually, I think this is studio pottery. Steve found this from a little thrift shop, and I don't know a lot about it. I just think it's so beautiful and elegant. My little crystal collection, just have a bunch of crystals and stuff in here. Another thrift store find, it's just a big box, $3.99 or $5.99. We don't really keep anything in it, but I think it's cool. I do like to collect weird rocks, as most people probably do. Sculpture that my relative made, beautiful lady. I have a little Wedgwood ashtray from my grandmother, although nobody really smokes anymore. And just a little, I think this is a Mexican fetish cross. And then this is something I found on the beach, and I really liked it because it looks kind of like a little diorama of stuff going on, like sea things. And it's just a piece of rusty metal with like a rock in it. I don't know where it's from, but I think it's interesting. The kitchen is also another place where we rotate through a lot of art. I just have one of my pieces leaning up against the brick wall. Here's another piece of pottery I found at a thrift store. I know it's sitting on its side, but it kind of looked good up there like that. Here is a tiny little porcelain sculpture that I found in a gift shop one day, and I just fell in love with it. Unfortunately, a cat jumped up on a shelf that we had and knocked over everything, including this, and so she lost one of her little fingers. This my parents brought back from China a while ago. I think they went in the 80s and they brought that back. This wasn't actually an accident, and I liked it so much that I put it in a little frame. This I found in a vintage store. I don't know if it's actually for chopsticks because it looks like it was in the 50s, and I don't know. It was probably for forks and things like that. This is a Seattle potter, Barbara, I cannot remember her name, Barbara something, but I have a ton of her pieces and I love her work. Steve got this salt thing at a thrift store, and I don't know We don't use it for anything except just kind of like a riser. This is one of my collages. And then above it, I have a Vered Gerstenkorn, is one of my favorite painters. This little oil, this is from a good friend, Paul Schmidt. And then above it, I just stuck a little oil that I did on cardboard. And I have this little sticky hanger, temporary solution, but I really like some walls empty. I don't really like to put art on every wall, but I was just creating some collage fodder for a project the other day, and instead of cutting it up for fodder, I just liked it so much, I hung it. Just like kind of totems, I guess. This is from cat food cardboard, and I just had fun and went crazy with collage and different layers. This little lady, she's like a nature fairy, and I'm pretty sure she's from Salt Spring Island, and she's just adorable. I love her. We have this oil painting by a friend of ours. His name's Dunny Potter. And we kind of bought this out of the trunk of his car one day. It was sort of funny. He had a bunch of paintings in there, and I just love this one. This is one of my pieces, and it's a mixed media piece. It's kind of hard to see with all the reflections, honestly, but you get the idea. I think he's from Quebec, Jean Bergeron. He goes by La Vie Pub on Instagram, and he sells his stuff on Etsy, and Steve and I really love his work. And then in the powder room, we have this poster, which you might recognize. Another rotation wall. I hang a lot of different pieces up here to try them out. Here's a little ceramics piece I made. It's porcelain. This is another sculpture from the same family member that I have lying around the house, and behind that is a painting I did. Just a little piece of handmade pottery and no signature, unfortunately. These two little lovelies I bought in London, and I have a really hard time reading that signature. This is just a square mixed media piece. Steve found this painting, and I really liked it. This is a really large piece that I just keep in the bathroom, and I just have it lying on the tile there. I don't hang it. Here's two mixed media pieces that I did. I've thought about selling these two, but I just love them so much I can't part with them. I love masks, and I got this in Mexico, and it's just a rustic little charming, whimsical piece. And over here at the top of the stairs is actually another place where I rotate a lot of my vertical paintings. This is where my husband works and hangs out and does music and makes art. Steve's a children's book illustrator, so he collects a lot of cool children's book ephemera and art books. I found this lovely watercolor in a thrift store, and it was hidden under a bunch of other stuff by S. Bugless, 1958. Jenny Nelson teaches online classes, and this is one of the pieces that I did for her class. And he often hangs up pieces of my art that I don't like, and he salvages them from me painting over them or throwing them out. Just some more of my art that he has on his bookshelves, and he has a lot of cool stuff that he collects. This is from the Seattle World's Fair. I think a metallic lithograph. This is a cute little hand-painted plate from Mexico. This is one of my paintings I did on paper. Steve salvaged it. I was gonna throw it out, but he liked it, so it grows on me. Ella the Elegant Elephant, which he illustrated that children's book. Just fun, cool vintage stuff. That is a sweet little hummingbird's nest that he found outside. I just love it. It is so stylish, and it's almost like Scandinavian style. So soft, beautiful colors. This is from a series I did called the Tea Garden series, and he wanted to keep this painting, and I sold many of the other ones. Here's just another painting he has of mine hanging up on his wall. I am not even gonna say this when he's in here, but I really don't like this Miles Davis thing, but you know, a dude's gotta do what a dude's gotta do. And I joke about how there's like nothing on this panel that he paid for. It's just blank. I think I bought this when I was at the Nicholas Wilton retreat in Mexico. I just think it's wonderful and childlike. Down at the bottom of the stairs is a very special painting my friend did of me, portrait. Her name's Linda Wallace. Here's a piece by my mom. It's on Yupo paper, and I think she uses watercolor or acrylics. I'm not sure how she makes these, but it's a nice little landscape on Yupo paper. And a photograph by a friend of ours who travels a lot. His name's Greg White. In the guest room, here's just a mixed media painting of mine. Another thrift find, this really cool mid-century looking piece of pottery. It's got a really nice rough texture. Here's another painting of mine, mixed media, and then a collage I did a while back. I love this artist's work. Look at the detail in that. Here is one of many of this series that I did, and I have about 15 of these. Sorry about the glare. Here's a sweet little drawing, pen and ink, that Steve did. And here is my really messy studio with all of my art lying all over the place. This is where I do my art and I work on the computer. This painting's by Gay Waldman. Since I have two black cats, I like the two black crows or ravens. This piece I got in Mexico, and I love the detail and color on this. Here's just a piece of mine hanging on the studio wall that was totally an accident and random, and I think I was just wiping my brushes off on some paper, but I love it, and I think I might frame it one day. And then this is another thing. Sometimes I'll just put paper out on the floor while I'm painting, and I'll I think some of these ones turn out the best where I'm not really thinking about them. Again, another one, I think this was a friend of mine came over to paint and we worked on this one together, where there was a piece of paper just lying on the floor and we would add to it. I need a much bigger inspiration wall, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. And this was from a Jenny Nelson workshop as well. And this is by a painter friend of mine named Julie Albert. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that. I post a lot of my art on Instagram as well, which is BlakeCake8. Sorry, Blake Cake is just a nickname that I got a long time ago and it stuck. And you can also purchase and view some of my art on my website, which is blakelillianhellman.com. See you next time.